and welcome back to the Film Reelcast. I'm Stuart, your host. We're back in the dojo. It's episode 4, Moment of Truth of Cobra Kai. Before we get started, as usual, please subscribe. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed. And the comments are really, really great. And The Mandalorian has gone really well. Something I really love talking about. And just thanks to everyone who subscribed to that and who's watched it. The viewing's been really surprising, and it's just great that people are watching it and enjoying it. So thank you so much. Please keep watching. It's just great to interact. Thank you so much. And talking about subscribing, check out the playlist. We've got The Shield, nearly finished season 1, and obviously The Mandalorian as well. Cobra Kai season 1, and you can watch all of those videos, and it will just be great to have your feedback. On with Moment of Truth, episode 4, season 2. Okay, this starts with one of the characters who you love to hate or you just hate to love. I don't know which side of the fence you're on. But Dimitri enters the dojo and he meets Kreese. First big mistake. He says to Kreese, "Thank God you're not the other guy who's pretty intense." Second big mistake. And then he says to Kreese, who's just staring at him very intensely. As you can see, Kreese just takes a dislike. So he doesn't like these millennials. He doesn't like these soft children, the nerds. They're not someone who he wants in Cobra Kai. And Dimitri says to him, "I want to learn karate. I want to learn to punch, but I don't want to be punched." He wants special treatment. And he deserves this music and this look from Kreese. And he says to him that the tattoo on his arm is factually incorrect, visually incorrect. And he points out, he even grabs his arm, he invades his personal space, grabbing the tattoo, saying the picture's wrong and that he should get it corrected because it's not a proper Cobra. Unsurprisingly, next it flashes away where Dimitri has had the crap beaten out of him. He's been assaulted by Kreese and leaves the dojo in utter shock of what's happened. And it's bad. Kreese has assaulted a child, basically. And that's what he's done. And a shocked, injured Dimitri leaves the dojo. And we get the famous Cobra Kai come up. So Robbie and Samantha are trying to find a way to promote their karate. Remember, they just had Valley Fest, where they just had a demonstration where outshone completely by Cobra Kai. It did this massive kick-ass display, and the crowd went absolutely wild. I mean, if you want to see that, just go back to the previous episode, and I've got the highlights of that. It's really, really good. Airborne playing, kicking ass. It's absolutely brilliant. So they're trying to find a way of promoting. Robbie's really frustrated. He says that we need to promote the offense rather than the defense, but that isn't what it's all about. Daniel's got a plan, which we'll come to later on. You go back to the dojo of Cobra Kai, and you've got Kreese telling some bullshit story. And this really should be titled Kreese's Lies, because that's what it's full of. Kreese is telling some story where he's fighting warlords in Mogadishu, and he gets the country wrong. And he's corrected by Miguel, which you see the look on his face. You can see yet again that he's really pissed off with being corrected and that some kid is getting him, really catching him out on his lies. But Hawk and Aisha, as you can see, are lapping up his stories of murder and killing people. This is what Hawk is all about. He'll probably grow up to be a serial killer. And then you see the dojo. They're fighting. They set someone out and we meet a new character called Tori. And Tori is basically an evil version of Samantha. She's quite attractive. She's very good at karate, and her methods of doing it are kind of quite underhand, as we see when she takes Miguel down when he tries to help her get up. So she's the kind of the epitome of what's evil if Samantha was a bad character. In Superman, when they went in that chamber and turned Superman bad, this is what Tori is like, the evil kind of version of Samantha. Which is great, because I've been asking for someone for so long that Samantha, who's equal to her ability, who we can see her fight. Hopefully Tori's going to be the one. And through this episode, yet again, it builds up that tension of possibly something happening later on in this season. So Daniel's way of doing it is to encourage the parents, educate the parents of Miyagi-Do, compared to what the aggressive nature and forward thinking of Cobra Kai. He's saying if you educate the parents on defense and the importance of defense rather than being full on aggressive, that they'll pass that message down to their kids and their kids will join as well. And their kids may understand the work ethic of painting fences, sanding down floors, cleaning cars, rather than kids just turning up and feeling like it's slave labour. So this is Daniel's approach to trying to get more students. And when they get to this club, you find out from Robbie that he used to work there, and he left in not too good of circumstances because the staff believed, and he actually admits that he was stealing stuff, doing stuff untoward, and he got the sack. And if they found out that he was returning there, that they wouldn't be too pleased and he'd get kicked out. But remember, he's in completely different circumstances now. He's with a really nice family, a rich family, well-to-do, good reputation, and hopefully this will get him through. So Aisha and Tori decide that to go to the club together. Tori's been invited by Aisha, and she even says, there's a bit of foreshadow, which we always like in this, that you can come as his backup. And the reason why you need backup is a girl called Samantha there used to be friends who have fallen out, and she's getting a bit of shit. And she paints quite a picture of Samantha being the aggressor, and can you come along for backup in case she kicks off, which really, as we know, isn't true. But it's already building up the ante, as in that something could happen. So Dimitri contacts Hawk, remember they're friends, and he says that I got beaten up, and you can see on the FaceTime that he's got the injuries, he's got stitches, he even says, and that Kreese beat him up, and he's a fucking psycho, and that something needs to be done. He wants to report it to the police, and Hawk just tells him that this is just the way it is. You're just not strong enough to be a Cobra Kai. And when Miguel comes out, he says, what's wrong? And even Hawk just laughs about it, saying he ain't just strong enough, he's not cut out to be Cobra Kai. And Kreese beat him up. And you can see by the look on Miguel's face there that he's concerned that Cobra Kai isn't about beating people up. Remember, he had that talk with Johnny in the last one about looking after him and like a brotherhood, and that they're there for each other. And Johnny's kind of painting a different picture to what Kreese is painting, which is no surprise because that's what Kreese does. But it's concerning enough for later on for Miguel to then talk to Johnny about what happened, and Johnny just dismisses it. That obviously they're old friends, that Kreese is fine, you can trust him. But he's assaulted a child, remember. What kind of guy goes around assaulting a child? A child who's a geek, who doesn't even know karate and can't even defend himself. So back at the dojo, Johnny overhears Kreese on the phone threatening someone, really threatening that he's going to burn the whole place down, really super aggressive, as Kreese always does. Johnny overhears and he says, what's going on? He says, what's happened is I'm staying in quite a posh hotel downtown. One of the maids has nicked my really expensive watch that I've had for donkey's years when I was in the army, and I want it back, and I'm threatening to get it back. This sounds like a lot of BS to Johnny, and you can tell by his face that he doesn't believe what Kreese is saying. Bearing in mind, everything Kreese has said so far is complete nonsense and an utter lie. So there's no surprising that Johnny has his suspicions that Kreese isn't telling the truth. So Daniel's at the club, busy networking, speaking to the parents. And he's doing really well. He's teaching them the ways of his club and that it improve their kids. And a lot of them are picking it up, saying, yeah, there's bullying going on at school, and I'd love my kids to learn karate. And then Aisha's mum comes along and says, what are you talking about? They're talking about the karate. And then she says, my kid, Aisha, has learned so much. She's come on so much in confidence, in her skill and her ability and her discipline since joining Cobra Kai. And also at Valley Fest, they kicked ass. And everyone sees the video that she shows on her phone, as you can see there, of what happened at Valley Fest. All of them basically turn tables and say, yeah, I want my kid to be that confident, that aggressive, smashing bricks, doing high kicks and be super aggressive. And that's what I want. And to Daniel's dismay, he's nearly sold the idea, but he's more or less sold the idea of Cobra Kai rather than Miyagi-Do. Completely backfires. I do honestly feel for him. And while sunbathing, Robbie gets approached by the manager of the club. And remember, he used to work there. He got kicked out for stealing stuff. Or that's what we're led to believe. And he sees Robbie and says, what did I say? If you ever come back here again, I'm calling the cops. And Robbie, bless him, doesn't kick off, and he's not smart about it, as in he backmouths him. He just takes it. And then Amanda comes to the rescue, and she says he's with us. And he says, well, he's been banned. He's been banned as an employee, but as a family member, he's coming with us, and he's a guest. And she really tears this guy a new arsehole. And Robbie's allowed to stay. Then Robbie says to her that I was bad, and I did get kicked out of here, and I am banned. But she says that was the old you. And it's really nice because Robbie is really being honest and sincere. And being with Daniel and learning the karate is really changing Robbie into a nice lad who doesn't always get the breaks. Because remember, he fancies Samantha so much, and all she really wants, and she is turning herself, was Miguel. And the fact that Amanda has welcomed him into that kind of family circle just means so much. And it's a nice scene with Amanda sticking up for Robbie. And you see Tori and Aisha turn up at the club, and the first thing that Tori says is, all these people are minted, there's so much money, you can go around and just help yourself to anything. And she even says that she could steal some bottles of alcohol and no one would notice, and even steal the silverware and take it and sell it. So Samantha sees Aisha and she kind of doesn't really want to go over there, but once again it's Robbie who encourages her to go over there to try and kind of build those bridges and be friends. He reminds her he used to be good friends. So she does go there, and first they bicker a bit about the Cobra Kai demonstration and what happened, and the fact that you're the one who dumped me with your circle of friends being Yasmin and Moon. But they do make it up, which is really nice. But once there's happiness, the yin yang, something else is going to happen. So whilst Daniel's walking down the beach, he comes across this guy who's sea fishing, dressed in khaki, Mr. Miyagi, dead cert. As you can see from the picture, is wearing the same clothes as Mr. Miyagi was. And he uses the analogy of when he asks him if he's caught a lot, as in, no, the fish will come to me if I wait and patient at the right time. The fish that want to come will come to me and be caught. And he turns that into the children will come to the dojo if they want to learn karate the right way. And he sees this as some kind of apparition of Mr. Miyagi, a message being sent. That's what we're meant to believe. And that gives Daniel inspiration that if he's patient and if he waits, the children will come to him. It's such a religious message and a meaningful message that it will come to you if you wait. And remember, Tori, evil Samantha, is back at the club with Aisha, who is impressionable. And she shows Samantha and Aisha that she's stolen a bottle of whiskey, a bottle of vodka or gin, something like that, and that she's going to go and drink it and get pissed. And she's saying to Aisha, why don't you come with me and do it and have fun? Samantha's like, put it back. And she's like, oh, are you the good police? Are you the polite police that you can't do anything wrong? You're such a bloody goody-goody. And because Aisha's so desperate for friendship, for someone to replace Samantha, who's really kind of fallen out in love with each other, that she's got evil Samantha, Tori, to do that job. And she agrees to go off and have a drink. So as you can see, Amanda realises her purse has been stolen. Every suspicion goes on to Tori because she's the one who's stolen the bottle of drink already. She's mentioned about stealing the silverware. So you naturally think that Tori is responsible for this. So as any family member would, when their parents have lost something or been a victim, that you go and confront them. So that's what Samantha does. She goes to confront Tori and Aisha about the stolen purse. So Samantha goes to confront Aisha and evil Samantha, aka Tori, about the missing purse. And she says that I didn't do it. And she says, well, how am I going to believe you? You stole a bottle of gin or vodka and you said you're going to steal all the silverware. You said you're a thief. You admitted it. I don't believe anything. And it's when, as you can see, that she goes to grab a bag to search her, that Tori turns around and just pushes her into this table. And it's traditional tropey, like Beverly Hill Cop, where Axel Foley throws one of the goons over the table and he gets covered in food. Exactly the same as this, but it's good Samantha who gets thrown by evil Samantha over this table and gets covered in dessert. And it's quite a scene to the shock of Aisha's face. She knows she's gone too far this time. But did Samantha, as in evil Samantha, aka Tori, take her mum's purse? So meanwhile, Robbie is back at the beach and he goes to a stash. Remember, we find out why he got kicked out of the club, because he was stealing purses. So he finds the stash of purses. And in doing so, he runs into Trey and Cruz. And he says, you've got to give the purses back. And he says, no way, that's not happening. Remember, we kicked your ass at the garage and we can do it again. And just as Robbie gets into a stance to have a fight, some kind of Green Day wannabe comes from behind and smashes him on the back of the head with an oar. Pretty bloody brutal stuff. So Trey and Cruz have got Robbie and the Green Day wannabe. And they're on the beach. And it's Cruz who pulls out this knife. And he's just about to cut Robbie. Something bad's going to happen. You think it's going to happen, but from nowhere, from the sky, Daniel comes down in his karate pose. He's got that worried look on his face that he has from the original Karate Kid. And he takes on all 3 guys. And it's really good. It's not the greatest karate, because remember, Daniel's older, much older, so it's slower choreography. But it's really good, and he kicks all of their asses, and he finishes with this fantastic kick, and he just takes every single person out. As you can see on that picture, they're all laying on the beach, all Sparko. And Daniel has used it, and Robbie has set up his phone. Originally, his intention was to go down the beach, retrieve those purses, fight train crews, record it, and advertise Miyagi-Do to everyone. But the phone's still there, and he's caught the whole fight. He's caught Daniel falling from the sky like a phoenix and then saving everyone. And when he goes to approach Daniel about this, he says, no, this isn't what it's about. We're not going to sell ourselves. And he goes back to the analogy of when he spoke to the fisherman, that people will come to us. If we wait, they'll come to us, those who need the karate. And if by pure magic, as if it's script written, that you get Dimitri turn up and he says, I want to learn karate. And the look on Daniel's face, he's so proud. The ghost of Mr. Miyagi lives on. The advice lives on. And he wants to learn karate. And he becomes the first proper pupil. What will happen with Dimitri? I don't know. Will they get sick of his one-liners, his sarcastic comments? I don't know. Daniel's patience is going to be tested with this one student. So in the worst possible following montage you probably ever had in a film, or even a TV series, you've got Johnny follows Kreese. He doesn't believe his story. He doesn't believe he's at some kind of posh hotel. Kreese never looks turned out nice anyway, so he doesn't believe it. And he follows him. He's about 10 yards behind him, and Kreese doesn't notice. So his army skills clearly aren't in tune. And he goes to some hostel. And Kreese disappears inside, and Johnny shortly follows. And he hears the same altercation he heard before, and he's arguing with a homeless guy. And it's basically, he did steal his watch, but he's arguing. And he learned that Kreese is homeless. And all the stories he told about Mogadishu and Somalia are untrue. He never went there. And you see an old picture, and he says, when I tried to enlist in the army, they wouldn't take me. So I've just been wondering. I heard about Cobra Kai, and I came back to try and make it great again. But I failed. And Johnny says, no, you looked after me. And it's a nice moment. He says that Cobra Kai is about not giving up and about striking hard, being first, having no mercy. And he said, so I'm going to take you in. I'm going to help you. You can be a sensei and teach at the dojo, but it's got to be my way. And as you can see, they shake hands on it. And it's nice because Kreese has been honest for once. And I don't think, and Johnny's got that control because it's his arrangements. It's his way that he's negotiating with Kreese. But I think as soon as Kreese gets his feet under that table and he's nicely nestling under that table now, taking control, that I think things will change. And in the dojo that they're teaching, that Johnny says the next instructions will be taken or be given by Kreese. And the look on Hawk's face is fantastic. He's about as merciless as Kreese is. So he loves it. And I think this could be the start of splitting or possible divide in the dojo of Kreese's way to Johnny's way. Because Johnny doesn't want the violence. He just wants to be on top. But he doesn't want to do it the same way Kreese would. So I'm sure there's going to be fireworks there. So that was episode 4, Moment of Truth. Not a bad episode. We've been introduced to Tori, also known as Evil Samantha. After pushing good Samantha into a table of food, I'm expecting fireworks the next episode. Something's got to happen. And also, Dimitri, what's going to happen? Is he going to embrace karate? Is he going to learn the skills and find out he's a natural and want to kick Hawk's ass to have a face-off? That's going to be some fight, if it does happen. And what will happen with Kreese as well? Getting his feet under the table. Will he slowly take control? Will there be a divide in Cobra Kai? Before we go, just a reminder to subscribe to the audio podcast as well. We finished doing Halloween. We've got RoboCop coming up at the moment. That's a bit of a slow progress due to COVID, due to the changes we've had to make. But we've got over, I think it's 106 episodes of various films, various TV series on all good podcasting platforms. So subscribe to that. And please subscribe to this episode if you like what you're seeing. And you love Mandalorian, love The Shield, and love Cobra Kai. Leave your comments, leave feedback, and please subscribe. Okay, I'm Stuart. This is the Film Reelcast. Thanks for watching.